M&A transactions, liquidity events, they are actually quite a revenue bonanza for many service providers, lawyers, accountants, PR people, investment bankers. We live for those transactions, right ladies, Nicole and Catherine? And so they're great for women too, because if you can kind of, when you see one happening, think about how you find a woman to put upstream of those transactions. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and I apologize for the woman comments, but I know you're all supporters of women, money and power for women because you're here. So Broad Circle is really all about money and power for women. All we talk about all the time is money. Okay, so how many of you here like money as much as I do? Nobody can possibly like money as much as I do. How many of you like power as much as you like money? You know what? I'm kind of ambivalent about it sometimes too. I love power sometimes, but sometimes I don't know if I love it. But how many of you know that money is power? That should be 100% of you. Okay. So all you have to do is kind of know the world to know that money is power, right? So I wanted to share a couple of stories with you of what's been kind of going on and making me think about things. But one of the things that we've been talking a lot about recently at Broad Circle is the fact that, you know, the whole issue of the parity of women and men in economic power, and I think I've talked about it ad nauseum that I was invited to the White House in June. Does everybody know that already? I've bragged about it and talked about it at every opportunity. But the nice thing about that event was that I got a chance to be with 80 women from you know, major women in finance who all love money as much as I do. And we got a chance to think about some of these disparity issues. And because of the fact that I was there, I was able to get, I haven't gotten it yet, a request into Secretary Blank's office, the Commerce Secretary, to help me develop a wealth distribution map by gender and race, which I hope to be able to share with you at another point. So, given this whole thing about money, what do we do about it, right? Well, how do we, you know, change the paradigm for women's control of capital, women's control of revenue, right? You do it by, sometimes what works is governmental action or policy, but frankly, you know, those are very helpful in helping the masses of women. You know, if you're a woman in the United States who works at Walmart or maybe Burger King, you probably make the same amount of money as the guy who you work with, right? How many of you think that's true? That's actually true. But if you work on Wall Street or you're an investment banker, you probably don't. The pay disparity on Wall Street jobs is about 50% less. So how do you change that as a grassroots level? You think about where are the opportunities for you to work with other women, right? How can you put revenue in the pockets of other women? Men think about that a lot. Many men think about that a lot. You talk, you know, if you hear some CEOs talk, CEO of PepsiCo, is it Muhtar Kent? He talks about that all the time now. You know, how do you create a paradigm in the workplace? Where? Who said it? Coca-Cola. Yeah, it was PepsiCo. So how do you do that? So that's kind of an issue that we talk about. So what I wanted to do today, because we're here to talk about strategic alternatives, is kind of get a read of who's in the room. Because of what I said earlier, the fact that strategic alternatives can create some revenue for a lot of service providers. How many women, how many folks, gentlemen as well, in the room are lawyers? Let's see. Stand up next time, because I can't really see you together. Oh, there's a gentleman who's a lawyer too. How many, stand up this time, how many are CPAs who work for a CPA firm, or an accountant who works for an accounting firm? Good. Good, good, good. So we got a lot of lawyers, a lot of accountants. We know accountants and lawyers make a lot of money in M&A transactions and strategic alternatives. And how many people are service providers that are actually able to get revenue in those kinds of transactions in other services, like investor relations, public relations, those kinds of things. Board consultants, operations consultants, investment bankers, leadership consultants. How many are in that category? Yeah, I think we got pretty much everybody in the room. How many people are in a position to hire people like that, to actually put revenue in the pockets of people like that? Well, we got a couple up here, maybe Hadley sometimes, and we've got a few out here in Augusta, so there we go. We got a few, oh, you shy people. So that's what I'm talking about. Obviously we have some people in the room that are in a position to, hire service providers, and we've got other people in the room who are service providers that can serve that community. So another little story I want to share with you is that just in my own daily activity, I had an opportunity to bring in a couple of nice deals at Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley, I manage money there. I'm on the wealth management side. But we are able to bring in business for other parts of our company, right? And when you do, you get paid a piece of that revenue. You get paid a portion of the revenue that you generate for other parts of your organization. So a couple times this year I was fortunate enough to be in that line of activity, but I had an interesting conversation with a guy, somebody else at my firm. I call him up and I said, look, here's the situation. I think this is a fit for your area. Here's just the outline of the thing. And so he says, okay, you know what, let's just talk about the economics. This is before he's done. I kind of, spent time telling him the whole thing, expecting him to go do homework and then come back to me. But first thing he said to me is, look, if we do this, I just want you to know 75% of the economics of this transaction are mine. So he was upfront contract, negotiating the revenue before he'd done a lick of work. He wanted to know what his take was going to be. Now that's very different than a woman, right? Before I called him, I worked on working out this whole transaction in my mind and who's going to do what. I prepped, for 2 days, right? Before I picked up the phone to call him. Now he was not going to do a lick of work before he knew what the economics for him were, right? A very different dynamic. And I thought that was like, a light bulb went off for me. I was like, wow, you're so brilliant. I need to do that. So many times I'm getting on the back end, and the back end I'm like, okay, what? I thought you were going to give me, this percentage. And then we're fighting about it on the back end. I'm like, I'm going to start every conversation before I do anything, at least, within my colleagues. How many of you have had that experience with your colleagues? Okay. So I thought that was a good learning lesson that I wanted to share with you. So now that we've had a good chat, I want to tell you who we have to thank for tonight. We've got two wonderful corporate sponsors to thank, Catherine BLAIR and NICOLE, and K&L Gates and Imperial I wanted to share with you. So now that we've had a good chat, I want to tell you who we have to thank for tonight. We've got two wonderful corporate sponsors to thank, Catherine BLAIR and NICOLE, and K&L Gates and Imperial
Thank you, Daria. As always, you inspire and you make us giggle. All right, so K&L Gates. I'm a corporate lawyer. I'm one of the lawyers in the room. We're a global law firm. We have about 2,000 attorneys in over 40 cities and 4 continents. We represent all types of companies, from leading global corporations to middle market companies, emerging growth companies, and capital market participants. In all different types of industry sectors. So you want it, we have it, is really what we do. And we look to get your business done and to become business partners with you, and that's K&L Gates.
Thanks, Daria, for having us today and for the opportunity to sponsor the event. We're thrilled to be here. Imperial Capital, for those of you that aren't familiar with us, we're a 200-plus person investment banking firm headquartered here in Century City, but we have offices all over the U.S. as well as London. We have two primary areas of our business: sales and trading, where we trade middle market debt and equity securities, and then we have the investment banking side, which is where I sit. And I'm in our consumer investment banking group, where we do buy-side and sell-side mergers and acquisitions, debt and equity financings, as well as restructurings. We have a particular expertise in industry verticals where we go very deep. I cover food and restaurants within consumer, and we have a bigger consumer team beyond that. My partner, Christy Lowe, is here as well. And then we also have a very unique niche in the market for debt financings because of what we do on the trading side. So we are able to go and place anywhere from $10 million of debt up to $200 million of debt for middle market companies and create an aftermarket in that security. So between what we do on the investment banking side and the trading side, we've really carved out a pretty unique place in the market, and thrilled to be here and talk to all of you today.
Hi again, Catherine Blair. Before we go through our panel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everybody to give a little brief introduction of themselves and their background, and then we're going to delve into the nitty-gritty. And in case you, as I mentioned, I'm a lawyer, and this is kind of my space, the strategic alternatives. I work with companies at many different levels, whether they are looking at whether it's just beginning or at late stage strategic alternatives.
Fantastic. Well, hello everyone. I'm Hadley Mullen, and I wanted to start by thanking Daria, Nicole, and Catherine, and everyone here for this opportunity to speak with you all tonight. By way of introduction, I'm a partner with TSG Consumer Partners. We are a private equity firm headquartered in San Francisco, although in 25 years we've only done 3 partnerships in San Francisco, and we've invested equity capital in about 30 businesses here in the greater LA area. So this area, the greater Los Angeles area is very near and dear to our hearts. What we do is we provide equity capital to branded consumer product companies, often to provide liquidity to owners, as well as to overfund the balance sheet in many cases so that the business can invest much more aggressively for growth. Some of the businesses that we've partnered with over the years include the likes of Vitamin Water, Terra Chips, Dogswell, which is in the very high growth functional pet food business and treat business. We are investors in a business called Neuro, which is another beverage business down here. We invested in a business called Smashbox Cosmetics, and we worked closely with Nicole and her partners in order to buy Sexy Hair out of bankruptcy. So very excited to be here today and shed some light on what is a very important and timely topic, given that there is certainly a lot of M&A activity right now.
I'm Chief Financial Officer and Chief Operating Officer with, almost 27 years of experience in both Australia as well as the United States. Started my career in Australia, as I said, actually working with PricewaterhouseCoopers, and moved into pharmaceuticals with GlaxoSmithKline, then moved into beverages with Pepsi, then moved to the United States in 1994. What was meant to be a 2-year walkabout became 4 years, and 4 years became the rest of our life. So started in the United States with BMG Entertainment for 6 years, and most recently was at California Pizza Kitchen as their Chief Financial Officer and Chief Operating Officer for the last decade. Had one of the most rewarding experiences going through the process of strategic alternatives, which is why I'm here tonight. Happy to share that with you. And I'm currently the Chief Financial Officer for Dun & Bradstreet for Billy. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, GINA HAGEN, CFO of OPI Products. We color the world. Again, thank you, Daria, for inviting me. OPI is still a very fun company to work for. With the acquisition of Coty, though, the fun entrepreneurial spirit has sort of been taken out of their sales, but they have enjoyed every minute of the transaction, along with the continued growth, watching the growth of OPI. So, thank you.